Good day, all. This is your lazy Liz, and I am gardening in Zone 9B in Central Florida, in the Orlando area. And I'm in my front yard, and I wanted you all to see on the edge of that box there. I don't know how close I can get. You see, there's a little lizard guardian there. And I have lots of lizards in my garden, and I don't think they're eating anything, but I hope they're eating the bad bugs. But as you can see, this is a Swiss char plant here, and it was exposed to the sun, and so I lost a few of the plants, and I replanted some yesterday. And then let me go back out here. And then this one is a kale plant, and I lost a few of these plants as well to the sun, and so I have been covering them up. Right now the sun is just coming up over the trees, and so I'm going to shade these in a little bit. And you can also see I have like these little corkscrew thingies that have the names of the plants on here, because I was trying to find something whimsical and cute to put into my garden. And so that's one thing that I thought of. I had these little corkscrews from wine bottles, and I decided to use those. So let's move on to the big part of the garden. Before we move on, I just wanted to show you I harvested these carrots, and I'll show you the bucket that I harvested these out of. So this is the biggest carrot I have. You can see how big it is. Not that big, and then I have some little tiny ones and really wee ones, and I also have some wee ones in the house. So I got about 3 more wee ones. That's the biggest one that I got, and I knew that they were going to be small. These are the Danvers carrots, so they're not supposed to be that big anyway, probably a little bit bigger than this, but I didn't have the space right, but now I know that I need to space things. So now let's move on. So if we look down here now, things have changed a bit. And today I just basically kind of worked on the infrastructure of the garden. So you can see it's getting pretty big, and there's lots of structures. So I'm going to start all the way, well, I'll start here and then we'll just move back. So I just put these lattices in today, and y'all, my neighbors were throwing these out, and I picked them up out the trash. I put some pieces of wood on the back of them, and I put them into the ground. So this is going to be my sky area. I may rename it something else, but as you can see, it's just a big plywood board, which again I got out of the trash. I was going down the street and I found it, and it even had like some really good screws, which I took out of them in there. I think somebody had this up on their window for hurricane season and they threw it out. And up underneath, to kind of hold the board up off the ground so it doesn't get too wet, are some branches that came off of a tree that I had cut down last week, or during the week. And so that's going to be a platform to hold more plants. So I kind of have this planned out, but I don't have the dirt and the buckets yet to put in here. So right now, the only thing that's sitting here is some radishes. And these radishes were planted about 2 weeks ago, and I just planted some new radishes yesterday in here. So that's why that one's not covered up with straw yet, because I'm waiting for the plants to come up. And it's been raining, so it's got good rain. Now I also put up these 2 trellises, and the reason why I put them up in the manner that I did is because I want to be able to use these for shade as well, and put a cloth over the top of these if I need shade. And I have 2 indeterminate tomatoes that I planted. So hopefully when those come up, I know those are going to be very viney, and I'm going to put one on this side and one on this side. And so right now I have them kind of up temporarily so that they won't fall, but I'll shore them up a lot more once I determine if I want to keep them there. Now next over here, this is kind of a nothing spot right now, but I do have some plans. And here are some sugar baby watermelons. I have 4 of them in here, so I don't know if I'm going to need to thin them out or not. We shall see, but my goal is for them to go up the trellis once they get going good. So I did have them out in full sun yesterday, and so we'll see how they do. And that's an empty bucket right here. Empty. And today I also just worked on, again, my infrastructure for here. So I really kind of worked to make the trellises more sturdy. I put some rebarb down at the bottom, made sure everything was stuck in the ground really good. And of course, I didn't move any of the shade cloth here because it seems to be working really well. It's a light shade cloth, and I wasn't sure if this shade cloth was going to work for this. But it actually, I think, provides quite a bit of shade, more than I think it does, because the lettuce actually doesn't wilt during the day. And so that's good. It's actually kind of thriving in here. And this lettuce I had in the front yard where I have the kale and the chard at, and they just did not like it. But in here, they still seem to be growing and they haven't bolted, so that's a plus. So here I buried a sweet potato to see if I can get some sweet potato slips. Yeah, I don't know if that's how you're supposed to do it or not, but that's what I did. So, we're going to see what happens. And then we have some carrots, and I was just waiting for them to grow up a little bit more before I start thinning them out, but I'm going to start thinning these out so they won't, go down like the other carrots. But I have like a little spot right here, unfortunately. Maybe I'll try to put a few more, well, I don't know. I might try to put a few more carrots in there because I know I won't be able to transplant them. Alright, so back here I have a tomato transplant, and that's a husky cherry tomatoes from the other plant. So that's my second transplant that I did. And we have some spinach, and the spinach is looking good. I need to transplant that little pot of spinach as well. And over here we have some romaine lettuce and some cilantro. Y'all, I had a hard time getting the cilantro even going. So I had this little bit of cilantro. And then over here is a transplant tomato plant, and also basil. And that basil was flowering today, so I think it was bolting, even though it's a small basil plant. So I pinched it off, and this will be one that maybe I'll just let it grow. I decided that for all the tomato plants I have, that I'll probably put a basil in because they bell pepper plants that need to be transferred. And then we have some zucchini, which you can see are getting pretty big, so I definitely need to replant those sometime this week. And this is a brandywine tomato plant, and also this is some kind of tomato. It's a purple tomato or something, but anyway, those are indeterminate. So those are the two I'm going to put on the trellis. And then we have some okra here. And we have some potato slips, sweet potato slips from my kitchen. I have some dill in here. And this is an old bean plant that still did not come up yet. So yeah, I don't think that one's going to come up because I've been showing that for a few weeks and we got nothing. Alright, so let's move on. I'm going to show you from behind here a little bit because I have this covered up. But this is some yellow squash here, and I covered it because I planted it yesterday in this big tote, and it had full sun, and one of the plants is almost trapped up, commit hara-kiri. So I decided to cover it until the leaves get a bit stronger, and then I'll go ahead and take the cover off. Let's go around. And you can see this was just a piece of that raggedy sheet that I had originally up on the trellis, but now I have like some real shade cloth. And because it was just, that was too ugly even for me. And over here we have some cow peas, better known as black-eyed peas, and they are growing fantastically. If you look at like last week's video, just last week's video, you'll see that there has been some amazing growth. And so I wasn't sure if these two were going to come up or not. Okay, y'all had to stop the video because I had a delivery, special delivery from Amazon. Okay, we're getting attacked by wasps. Okay, so here is, I still need to replant this. This is a nasturtium, which actually it seems like it's growing good, but it's in a pot with an aloe. And I just really need to take that out. So I need to put that on my to-do list and get that done. And down here is some zinnias. And I think I want to say I planted these after the tour last week, and they're growing already, so that's kind of cool. And they're actually ready to get some mulch as well. So I'm excited to have more colorful flowers in the garden bed. And then back here in the back is going to be bell pepper plants. And because I had a lot of bell pepper seeds, so I was like, let me just see what I can do. Let me see if I can grow some bell pepper plants. So these are both yellows, and then those two buckets are empty at the moment, but I'm going to transplant some red ones in there. And I shaded those two because they almost committed hairy-carry as well yesterday in the sun. So I just got a dollar store tarp, and that's temporary. I just put that over there now. I have to track the sun today and see how everything is doing, because I kind of changed some of the shading around. And then you can see my beautiful, beautiful sunflowers, y'all. These sunflowers are amazing. Thank you, Bobby. And if you all didn't know, Bobby is posting her garden tours as well on here. She's up north in Indiana, and she gave me these sunflowers from her last year's crop, and I have tons of sunflower seeds, so I think I'm going to plant some more, although these took a few months to get to this point. But you know, you got to get started someplace. And then here I have a bird bath, which I need to level out. As you can see, the water is like halfway in, halfway out, and my neighbors were throwing this in the trash, and I was like, can I have that? And they said yes. And so I'm gonna get this together so it'll look prettier. But for now, this is the spot where it's going to live at. And then up here, I also kind of rearranged this part as well. And we have two contenders here, two contender bean plants, and they are growing beans like crazy. And I'll go around the other side so you can see. And right now we only have beets. So this is where the carrots came out of. So you can see it was definitely overcrowded with stuff. And so I have some beets in here now. Y'all look at this little bitty colorful thing I made with some beads I had in the house and some wire. And it has carrots, but there's no carrots in here now, so I need to move that someplace else. And I did have this umbrella, which I was using for shade, and I got this umbrella out the trash. Of course, it came from down the street. Somebody was throwing it away, and I picked it up. And I did just have it stuck in the ground, but it was really low, and this is like my walkway to get to the back, and I had to duck under, and it just wasn't up there good, and I didn't want it to fall over, because if it fell on my sunflowers, y'all, no. And so what I did was I put like this I forgot what they call it, like a shepherd's hook on here. I had a bunch of these that I'm not using, and I put this old lantern that it was just sitting on the ground. It's no good because I left it outside, but it's very beautiful for the garden because I like recycled old stuff in the garden. And then I put that here, so if this slides down, which it doesn't seem to, I just used some ties and I put the umbrella on here. And I did continue to use these ropes so it won't, you know, turn around too much. And then if it's windy or anything, I can just go ahead and tie that up and it should be okay. I don't know, we'll see. I'm trying to get ready for hurricane season, y'all. Okay, so down here is some aloe plants up under. Some aloe plants that still need to be replanted, and they are looking quite lovely actually, but I'm gonna put them in some pots still because they are in my walkway, which looks horrible and terrible, but we're getting there. I also shored up this arch here, and this is the Eden area, and this was the first area that I got going. You can see I put some actual shade cloth up today to see how the plants are gonna like for real shade cloth and not just the sheet that I had up there, because I have to kind of think a little bit differently on how I shade this area, because y'all, my cucumbers are coming up. I don't have any cucumbers yet, but the cucumbers you can see are running up here, and there's going to be some more coming up. And I wanted that to be able to cover this whole trellis, but I think I just kind of started too late. So it still needs some shade on the top, if that makes sense. Over here, I have some bunch onions here, and I just planted some more cowpeas and also some peppermint plants here. And then we have a marigold, and none of my marigolds have bloomed just yet, so I'm excited to see those. I made this out of some beads and some wire, because I wanted some cuteness in my garden, y'all. So, and of course I have like my butterflies up here. And in here is some eggplants. So you can have us some eggplant goodness. And here's the sunflowers that are in the bucket. There's only 2 of them in here, but y'all look at these flowers that are coming off the sides. I did not know sunflowers did that. Isn't that beautiful? They're starting to open up. You can see right here's one, and there's one back there. And those are getting ready to open. That one opened. This one like totally died, and this one as well. And then I got the sunflowers coming off on the sides, which is quite cool indeed. And then back here, this is my sweet banana peppers, and I thought it was dead, but it's coming back, so I'm just gonna leave it alone. It's actually 2 plants in here, and the other one, I don't know, it doesn't have any leaves on it. And this is a marigold that went crazy, no blooms yet. And then another one of my cutesy pootsy things. And back here is one of the first plants that I got, and y'all, there's bees in here, so I'm gonna be moving out of here. And you can see we got tomatoes. I've already got quite a few tomatoes off of here, but this plant has leaf spot. And yesterday I went through and I just took all of the leaf spot leaves off as much as I could find. I still see a few. And I actually got a fungicide which came today, and I'm going to be using that on the plant. So we'll see how that works out. Y'all, these bees. I don't know if those are bees or wasps. Y'all can see that, but there's a few of them in here, and I think they just got stuck and they don't know how to get out, but whatever. And then I have another sunflower, as you can see, another tomato plant over here. This is Ma's tomato plant. It's named Ma's. It's a husky red cherry tomatoes. And then here, I still haven't taken any of the lovely peppers off of here. I'm just waiting for it to turn red. It's a red bell pepper plant, but they haven't turned red yet. So I'm being patient because I have some peppers in the house from the store to eat. And then here is another carrots, and I think I'm gonna get some bigger carrots off of here because I think you can kind of tell just by how big the leaves are that I might get some bigger ones. And I didn't only put a few carrots and a few beets in here, so it's past beet time. But I may try to do some beets in my backyard in the shade because I decided that I'm going to try to plant some stuff in the back. But y'all, baby steps. Okay. I also kind of shored up my trellis as well. I put like rebarb at the bottom. I'll show you. I really made sure it was staked in good. And I put rebarb at the bottom to make sure that it doesn't come out. And then here we have aloe plants that were in my walkway. They need to be replanted really bad. And then this is, morning glories. So I'm excited to see if they're gonna do well. This one tried to commit haricari yesterday in the sun, but they need to get used to being in the sun and have plenty of seeds. If it doesn't work out, we'll try it again. And the cucumber plant is going up, and this is why I had to kind of rethink the shade cloth, because look, it's getting up there. So this is kind of loose, and we have lots of blooms, so hopefully we're gonna have some fruiting pretty soon. And I also pinched some things, and I have some more cucumber plants down here, and I had these out in the sun, and one committed haricari. And so I decided to just stick them in there and see if they'll be protected by the other leaves for now. And then they're going to go into their own bucket. So that's pretty much it. And then the vertical garden, I did have some stuff in here, but I didn't have this upright and fell over. So it's empty. So I have to put it where it's going to have a new home because it's quite lovely. And so that is the whole garden here, And like I said, today I didn't really do any planting. I did some planting throughout the week, but I just kind of worked on the infrastructure of the garden itself, because y'all, it was just like, I was just afraid that if some winds came through, that was going to be it. Plus, I wanted to get some new placements. So you can see, like, this whole area was once upon a time empty. And maybe at the end of the season, we'll go through from the very, very, very beginning. Because, you know, I got pics. So I'm excited about this area. And I've been out here for a few hours today, and I'm tired. It's hot. The sun's coming in on this side, and so I am going to bid you all adieu. Have a wonderful gardening day.